Hey folks, want to learn some tricks and tips? Of course you do. Why else would you be here? Alright, so all these tricks and tips, they're just stuff I found out while doing random duels and having a staring contest with a trading dummy. Bitch. So take these however you will, but these are just some things I found. I think they're kind of neat. At number 10, the Imps only do 5 casts in their lifespan. I feel like this is pretty important to know so you can have a rough idea as to how long they last before they're gone. At number 9, Implosion does damage based on the amount of energy the Imps have left. So since they only have 5 casts, the damage of Implosion goes down by 20% every time the Imps cast. So it starts off at 100%, 80%, 60%, 40%, and 20% after they cast their 4th time. Once they cast the 5th time, they're pretty much gone. You can't implode them because that's their last cast, and as soon as they throw that out, they disappear. Number 8. Tyrant does, indeed, buff the damage of summoned pets after the Tyrant has been summoned. The only thing they don't benefit from him is the duration extension. Number 7. The Tyrant has a hidden aura that he puts on Imps that freezes their energy in place during his duration. However, this doesn't apply to Imps that have already casted at least 4 times before he was summoned. So if you have Imps that have lasted a little bit, they're not going to get affected by the Tyrant at all, damage or duration wise. If you get a bunch of Imps out during the Tyrant, they're all going to still be at max energy immediately after the Tyrant is faded. So a little trick I like to do is I can implode them just before the Tyrant or immediately after the Tyrant expires. That way you'll get the full damage of Implosion out on the person's face, and they're going to get a lot of it. However, if you don't want to feel like getting rid of all those Imps, keeping them around and having them just do their single target damage yields roughly the same results. However, if there's any more than 1 target there, I do recommend imploding them because that's essentially doubling the damage they would do. Not to mention that if 1 Implosion crits, that's an equivalent to an Imp critting every single firebolt they do. And it's more likely to get all that damage from 1 Implosion crit than hoping that a Fel Imp is really good at his job. Number 6. Dreadstalker's Dreadbite can be avoided with a blink or sprint. So if you throw out a Dreadstalker's in the fight and it makes you such a blink or anything like that, that Dreadbite will miss. They will not hit it because they'll only Dreadbite the target as soon as they land or immediately before they land. Same goes along with a Rogue Sprint. If they're sprinting along and they have no snares on them, you throw a Dreadstalkers out at them and they're running away, that's probably going to miss because they're going to land a little bit behind the Rogue. So that's a little tip to watch out for. Number 5. You can generate soul shards from immune targets. Now, if you cast Shadow Bolt on a Ice Block or Divine Shield, you're not going to get a thing from it. However, if you use a Soul Strike or Demon Bolt on the immune target, you will get all those soul shards that those abilities would give you. So while you're waiting for them to get out of the closet, you can build up your soul shards and you can even build up your Imps quite a bit for when they finally do come out, they'll be in for a nice surprise. Number 4. Axe Toss has an animation time and a travel time. So similar to the issues that warriors have been facing, the Axe Toss actually doesn't register to be active until after the Felguard is finished with the animation. He will wind up his arm and throw it. However, then you have to take into account the relatively slow travel time. Suffice to say, the further away the Felguard is from the target, the longer it takes for that stun to register. So you should keep an eye out for where your Felguard is placed if you really need that stun right then and there. Number 3. Pet follow out of combat makes the pet move freakishly fast. If you have your pet move to and he stays in a certain position, and you tell him to follow you, he will run at an incredibly fast speed. He will not run at this speed, however, if you tell him to pet follow while he's in combat. He will still run pretty much as fast as you do, which is really slow. Now, a little trick you can do, in case you're fighting a rogue or you think a rogue is nearby, you can have him go way the crap away in a certain spot and have him wait there, and then click Pet Follow and Felstorm, and he'll come back spinning like a madman, and maybe you'll get lucky and hit the rogue. However, most rogues tend to stay at just around that dead zone that warriors stay away from each other, roughly to the sides or just behind you. So it's actually, I kind of recommend you keep the Felguard close. And if you're worried about them sapping or blinding the Felguard and opening up on you, well, here's a little extra tip. Soul Link will break that sap and blind, so you really don't have to worry about that. So as soon as they do any bit of damage to you, that Felguard's out of that sap, so he's not disabled for a full 8 seconds, believe me. Tip number 2. If your Felguard is on passive, if you manually tell it to either Felstorm or stun the target, it will automatically return to you because it acts a bit as like a reset to the demon's AI. So if you're the type of player who constantly likes to have as much control as possible on the pet and so you keep it on passive, it is probably best to start using assist a little more often just because of that reason alone. Tip and trick number 1. Manually casting the Succubus, Imp, or Fel Hunter damaging ability yields slightly higher DPS. After smacking the dummy a little bit, I tested 30 seconds of having the pet just do its thing by itself, just pure autocast, and then I'll do another session of 30 seconds where I have a macro that uses all of my pet's attack ability, and I'll just mash the crap out of it. Because what I noticed is that with the Succubus and Fel Hunter, they will be rather conservative with how they use their energy. So the Succubus and Fel Hunter, they will only really use their attack when they reach 150 or 160 energy. Then they will use an ability, but they will not go below 100 whenever they can. This is mostly due to the fact that I believe Seduce and Whiplash both had an energy cost, which they do not have anymore. So since players were complaining that they will just be damaging the target all the freaking time and have no energy, Blizzard set an additional function in the AI where they will be very conservative with how they use their attack. But since Seduce and Whiplash no longer have an energy cost, and Devour Magic being a very low energy cost, it is now acceptable to be spamming the crap out of those abilities to maximize your damage, because you will be doing a little bit more DPS if you do completely spend their energy on those attacks. As with the Imp's case, he's a little different because he simply just has a gap between his cast times. It's very similar to an NPC, how you won't see them immediately chain another spell right after they cast. They always pause just a little bit, like a half a second is all they pause. However, if you get rid of that half a second and you just spam the crap out of the Firebolt, your Imp will go out of mana quite quickly, but out of all the pets, the Imp gets the biggest DPS increase if you manually just smash his Firebolt. Now, I do recommend you always keep the thing on autocast because I don't believe people will completely keep absolute uptime on those abilities. So I believe you always keep it on autocast. Your pet will not go by themselves, so don't worry, you're always going to have that extra attack to use unless you completely them out beforehand. So yeah, there's just my little 2 cents from me, little old Lucron here on this side of YouTube. Okay, bye.